Tonight, breaking news, the growing outrage. The two well-known actresses among 50 people charged tonight in a nationwide bribery scheme. Felicity Huffman of Desperate Housewives, Lori Loughlin from Full House, among the parents who prosecutors say paid to get their children into elite universities. Millions spent. Prosecutors claim changes to SATs and some allegedly paying for their children to be recruited for sports they never even played. Also tonight, the deadly plane crash right into a home. Emergency crews on the scene tonight. This evening, the growing pressure, the UK, France, Germany among the countries now grounding the new Boeing MAX 8. Tonight, why they're still flying here in the U.S. What Boeing and the FAA are now saying. The major storm hitting the Midwest tonight, then moving east. The blizzard warning, damaging winds. Rob has the new track and timing. Our team inside Venezuela tonight, the crippling nationwide blackout. We're in hospitals without power, families who say patients are dying. What former Vice President Joe Biden said today about running, it immediately made news. The 911 call for Luke Perry, what the caller can be heard saying. That plane crash off Houston, was it a mechanical error or was it a member of the crew? Authorities say the throttle was pushed to maximum, the plane then put into a nosedive. And the NBA star seen angered responding to a fan in the stands. Tonight, what really happened? New action just taken.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night. And we begin with that bribery scandal involving celebrity CEOs, the wealthy, including some famous moms who prosecutors say paid to get their children into elite universities. They accuse actress Felicity Huffman, once a star of Desperate Housewives, of paying $15,000 to rig her daughter's SAT score. And they accuse actress Lori Loughlin and her husband of paying $500,000 to have their daughters recruited for a sport they never played. They're among 50 people charged tonight. Today, the alleged mastermind, William Singer, pleading guilty. Federal prosecutors say the investigation is ongoing. And it's already drawing outrage tonight from some who say this is yet another example of the wealthy and connected taking opportunity away from young people who've earned it. ABC's Kana Whitworth at federal court in Los Angeles.
Tonight, actress Felicity Huffman under arrest, expected in a federal courtroom to face a judge. Her husband, actor William H. Macy, seen walking inside moments before. Huffman is one of 50 people charged in Operation Varsity Blues, including actress Lori Loughlin, in the largest alleged college admissions scam ever.
The FBI uncovered what we believe is a rigged system, robbing students all over the country of their right at a fair shot to getting into some of the most elite universities in this country. Investigators say 33 wealthy parents paying up to $6 million to college consultant William Singer, who they say paid off SAT and ACT proctors and bribed coaches to help land their children at top schools like Yale, Georgetown, and Stanford. The money allegedly funneled tax-free through Singer's fake charity. No students have been charged, and prosecutors say many were unaware.
You asking for a bribe?
Felicity Huffman, the former star of Desperate Housewives, allegedly paid Singer $15,000 to help arrange for her daughter to take the SAT at a site Singer controlled, where he could arrange for a proctor to secretly correct her answers. One of the many services they say Singer was providing.
We're talking about deception and fraud, fake test scores, fake athletic credentials, fake photographs, bribed college officials.
Singer today pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including racketeering and conspiracy to defraud.
Singer and his associates used stock photos that they pulled off the internet, sometimes photoshopping the face of the child onto the picture of the athlete.
Prosecutors say one family paid Singer $1.2 million. He, in turn, bribed Yale's women's soccer coach to recruit their daughter, even though she didn't play soccer.
You've worked very hard for your success. You should be proud of yourself.
And tonight, actress Lori Loughlin, the former star of Full House, is facing arrest too. Her fashion designer husband arrested today. The couple allegedly paying $500,000 in bribes to get their two daughters considered as recruits for the USC crew team, even though the girls didn't row, even submitting a photo of one daughter on a rowing machine. Lachlan's daughter, Olivia, now a freshman at USC and popular social media influencer, seen here, sounding like a lot of kids talking about college.
I do want the experience of like game days, partying. I don't really care about school, as you guys all know.
She later apologized, saying she was grateful, calling school a privilege and a blessing. But Olivia, who has used her dorm room as a studio to promote her sponsors and her brand, Olivia hasn't commented on the charges against her parents. And tonight, prosecutors insisting this alleged scam has real consequences.
There can be no separate college admission system for the wealthy, and I'll add that there will not be a separate criminal justice system either.
And Kana Whitworth reporting in tonight from outside the federal courthouse in Los Angeles. And Kana, you've learned there's already new fallout tonight in the wake of these charges?
Yeah, David, USC announcing late today that they have fired their senior women's athletic director, along with their 14-time national champion water polo coach. Stanford also firing their sailing coach, and several other universities have placed their implicated coaches or staff members on leave. David?
Kana Whitworth leading us off tonight. Kana, thank you. I want to get right to ABC's chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. And Dan, you were telling me you spoke with a half dozen former federal prosecutors tonight, all of whom had differing opinions about what the punishment could really be here.
Right, somewhat wildly different. I don't think there's any question that some people are going to spend time behind bars as a result of this. The question is, what about Huffman and Lachlan? The two of them even have very different cases. Lachlan is accused of spending $500,000 and doing it twice. Huffman accused of $15,000 and doing it once. There's a big difference legally in terms of a possible sentence between those two. The danger for both of them, though, is that this is the sort of celebrity justice you don't want if you're a celebrity, because a judge is going to want to send a very firm message to both of them and to the country.
A lot of parents very angry about this tonight across the country. Dan, thank you. In the meantime, we are following a developing headline from Ohio tonight. A deadly plane crash plunging into a home right in the middle of the afternoon. Emergency teams racing to the scene. They're on the scene at this hour, and ABC's David Curley covers aviation.
A twin-engine plane on fire.
One engine down. The plane is dived into the ground. They're also advising the plane is now on fire.
The plane slamming into an Ohio neighborhood, debris ripping into the house.
Officers were able to quickly assess that there was nobody present in the home.
Our affiliate WCPO was told that the Piper aircraft, owned by a business that used it for aerial photography and surveying. The pilot did not survive. While no one was in that Madera home, the crash is reminiscent of a plane hitting a bedroom in a Florida home, trapping a 17-year-old girl in a wall, waiting for rescue 3 weeks ago. She survived. The pilot here also died.
All right, so let's get right to David Curley with us live tonight. And David, I know that it's very early. Investigators are on the scene. No word on the cause yet?
No word on the cause. We know the aircraft was in the air for more than 4 hours, but the investigators will have to determine what happened.
We'll stay on it. All right, David Curley, who covers aviation. David, thank you. Meantime, tonight there is mounting pressure on the FAA and on Boeing to ground the 737 MAX 8 after that deadly crash in Ethiopia. Tonight, new action by the UK, Germany, France, all joining other countries in grounding those new jets. Investigators from the NTSB were at the crash site all day today, but what our correspondent on the scene learned today about those black boxes. ABC's Matt Gutman on the scene in Ethiopia.
Tonight, with the EU and dozens of other countries banning the 737 MAX 8s, the lead investigator on the ground telling ABC News they won't even begin to examine the black boxes for days.
So you haven't gotten into it yet? You haven't gotten inside of it yet?
He tells me they want to clear the debris field first before they begin to extract crucial data from those recorders, potentially holding up a decision by American Airlines and Southwest, which continue to use the planes about whether to ground their own fleets.
The delay by the Ethiopians in reading out these boxes is unconscionable. If there's a problem with the airplane, the world needs to know now and not 5, 6, 7 days from now.
Flight 302 took off Sunday morning carrying 157 people, the pilot radioing the airport that he had trouble. And just 6 minutes in, that plane slammed into this field. They're taking out the perimeter, expanding the debris field. Investigators from the NTSB and Boeing assisting the Ethiopians, taking pictures of wreckage as other workers piled up shredded pieces of that fuselage. Amid pieces of the fuselage that look like they've been through a shredder, there are also reminders that there were people on board. Personal effects like sweaters, books, and shoes. Back at home, the flight attendants union representing American Airlines calling on their company's CEO to strongly consider grounding the fleet until a thorough investigation can be performed. Boeing CEO speaking with President Trump this afternoon, making it clear he is absolutely confident in the safety of the airplanes. Just moments ago, David, the FAA out with a new statement saying that the agency sees no reason to ground the 737 MAXs. Now, there are only 72 MAXs flying in the U.S. out of thousands of airplanes. But if you are still concerned, both American Airlines and Southwest list the kind of plane you'll be on during the booking process. David.
Matt Gutman on this again tonight. Matt, thank you. In the meantime, we turn next here to a major storm moving across the country. Blizzard warnings, damaging winds, and flood alerts for much of the middle of the country right now and right into the evening. It then moves east. Southwest tonight already canceling all flights out of Denver tomorrow. You can see the salt spreaders on Colorado's I-25 with a blizzard on the way. And as I mentioned, this is all tracking east. So let's get right back to meteorologist Rob Marciano with us again tonight. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. You know, we're really looking at two storms that are going to be merging over the central U.S., leading to explosive development already tonight. A tornado watch has been posted for parts of Texas and New Mexico. Flood watches and blizzard warnings have been expanded north and east of this. So let's time this thing out, looking at this thing to develop tonight and strengthen tomorrow. Denver, midday, turning rain to snow. A huge wind footprint with this. Could see 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, not to mention some heavy rain and flooding rains north of this. Northwest, 12 to 18 inches of snow with this. And the winds continuing into Chicago as we go to Thursday. The rain's getting to the East Coast on Friday. David?
All right, we'll track it right through the end of the week, Rob. Thank you. Next to the race for 2020 tonight, Vice President Joe Biden in front of a crowd today. The Firefighters Association, they were chanting, "Run, Joe, run." And it was what the former vice president then said that immediately made news. Will he take on President Trump? Here's ABC's Mary Bruce tonight.
Tonight, the clearest signs yet that Joe Biden is on the cusp of running for president.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Speaking to the very supportive Firefighters Association, the former vice president answering those cheers.
Save it a little longer. I may need it in a few weeks. Be careful what you wish for.
Biden is making it clear he's ready to take on Trump.
In America, everybody gets a shot. That's what the next president of the United States needs to understand, and that's what I don't think this current president understands at all.
Another sign he's getting in, those who are staying out, like Senator Sherrod Brown and former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Biden says he's close to making a decision. He wanted to make sure his family's on board, and they are.
I'm grateful to be here today to say thank you.
While the president seems to be itching for a fight, he's called Biden weak, both mentally and physically. Mr. Vice President, what's the holdup, sir?
No, hold up, the car's working.
A playful response, but Biden's answer, an announcement, is expected in the next few weeks.
All right, we'll see. Mary Bruce live in Washington, and Mary Democrats wait on Joe Biden. They're also waiting on word from Beto O'Rourke, the former Texas congressman. He's headed to Iowa.
Yeah, David, it's a high-profile visit to campaign for a state Senate candidate. Now, as for 2020, O'Rourke says he and his wife have made a decision, and they're in fact already running ads on Facebook teasing an upcoming announcement saying he's ready to share his plans. David.
Mary Bruce, as always, thank you. Now to Venezuela tonight. In the dark, the crippling blackout continues there, a desperate situation growing worse. Tonight, our team inside a hospital where the power is out, and families now across Venezuela say their loved ones are paying with their lives. Tonight, the U.S. now responding to claims from the Venezuelan president that the U.S. could be behind the blackout. ABC's Tom Llamas is in Venezuela again tonight.
Tonight, Venezuela's most needy trying to stay alive in hospitals just like this one with little or no power.
So you can see this is the situation here in some hospitals in Caracas. There is no power. This is a private hospital. They do have a generator, but it's not enough power to power the entire floor at times. You can see patients are being wheeled out in the dark. This is the reality in Venezuela.
Guiding us through this dark maze, the hospital's ER chief. The facility invited us in to see the desperation. Parts of the hospital relying on a generator, but they have to conserve power to keep patients like Romero Andrade alive. Since the nationwide blackout 6 days ago, he's been in a coma, battling colon cancer. His daughter tells me they were treating him using flashlights. The director of the hospital telling me they are running out of time. Already, they've sent some patients home.
I have 67 years. Never in my life I have seen something like this.
All of this as reports of stores being looted while families scavenge for food and water anywhere they can. The crisis on full display right through the center of Caracas. Families getting water from this polluted river. President Maduro is blaming the United States without proof, accusing U.S. hackers of sabotaging their electrical grid, crippling the nation and leading to chaos.
And so let's bring in Tom Llamas reporting from Venezuela tonight. And Tom, first off, what's the reaction from the Trump administration tonight about these claims from President Maduro that the U.S. could be behind the blackout? And secondly, are U.S. diplomats leaving as they've been told to do?
Well, David, first, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the U.S. played no role in the collapse of Venezuela's electrical grid. He says the real culprit is Maduro's, quote, incompetence. Now, the U.S. is taking no chances here in Venezuela. They are pulling out all U.S. personnel. And Secretary Pompeo says it's because of the deteriorating situation here in Venezuela. And, David, we have seen it everywhere since we've been here, from people taking baths in that river of filth to mothers carrying large jugs of brown water to the darkened hospitals. Even the airport still has no power, David.
All right, Tom Llamas, great to have you back in Venezuela to put a spotlight on this desperate situation. Tom, thank you. From London tonight, a major blow to Prime Minister Theresa May and her latest Brexit deal, lawmakers voting it down. She had renegotiated parts of it after her first attempt was rejected in January. The deadline now leaving the European Union less than 3 weeks away. There is Next tonight here, the 911 call for Luke Perry has been made public tonight. A woman calling for help after he suffered that massive stroke, begging them to hurry. Here's Will Carr.
Tonight, the newly released 911 call just after actor Luke Perry suffered a massive stroke. Listen as the dispatcher peppers a woman with questions about Perry's condition.
Is he injured? Did he hurt himself? Did he fall? Is he able to speak with you? Is he breathing normally?
The Beverly Hills 90210 and Riverdale star is not heard on the call. Instead, the chilling request comes from an unidentified woman at his side, knowing every minute counts.
Hurry up and get there. They're on their way.
We now know first responders rushed Perry from his Sherman Oaks home to the hospital in less than 10 minutes. Perry was surrounded by family at the hospital where he died 5 days later. He was 52, relatively young to suffer a fatal stroke. David.
Will, thank you. When we come back, the major workplace fire erupting today. Employees said they heard explosions. We have images from the scene. And overnight, the NBA star responding to that fan tonight. The new action just taken. More in a moment. To the index of other news tonight and to new clues about the deadly crash of that Amazon cargo plane near Houston. The NTSB says moments before the crash, the throttle was pushed to maximum and the plane was put into a 49-degree nosedive. Investigators are now trying to determine if it was caused by a crew member or by mechanical failure. To the major plant fire in Elkhart, Indiana tonight, employees heard several small explosions. Forest River Plant 59, an RV plant, went up in flames. No injuries reported tonight. And we've learned more this evening after that courtside confrontation in Utah. Action against the player and the fan tonight. Oklahoma City star Russel Westbrook was fined $25,000 for profanity and threatening a fan during that game between the Thunder and Jazz. Westbrook claims the fan and his wife made a racist comment. The fan denies it. The team permanently banning him from Jazz home games. When we come back tonight here, America Strong. The little girl at the supermarket checkout and the simple act of kindness that led her to connect in a way that moved her mother and moved us. This might look like a typical moment, a child helping out at the checkout.
You and Isaac here. You're a good team.
Amazing. But it was anything but typical for this mother and daughter at Giant Supermarket, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
9-year-old Lily has special needs, and her mother told us she rarely interacts this way with strangers. But the cashier, Isaac Whitty, in an act of kindness, noticed that Lily was watching him intently. He asked, did she want to help? She did, loading each item one by one. Mom's heart filling up, along with the grocery bags.
You're so good at this. Thanks.
And in the middle of bagging those groceries, Lily suddenly proclaims to that young man this. I just love you. I love you, she said. And her mom loves Isaac, too.
Wow, you did the whole job. How do you feel, Lily?
A smile from Lily, and Mom was so moved, they came back to the supermarket with a homemade card and a hug. She loves the checkout guy, and we love Lily. I'm David Muir. Good night.